All right, let's rock and roll. This is going to be a great show tonight, you guys. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood. This is the Recruiting Live Show. If you're joining us on Instagram, this is the Recruiting Live Show. Thank you for joining us. You may see me look past you. That's because I've got YouTube right behind you and we're rocking with them. So you're not going to be able to see all the slides they can see on YouTube. If you do want to check out those slides, you have to attend by going to the link in our bio, clicking on the College Football Recruiting Live Show link, and then you guys can check this out on YouTube with us. So you guys can get the information right here on Instagram, but I'm going to be talking mostly to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, thank you for joining us, whether it is live or recorded. Excuse me. We're going to be talking some recruiting. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. We've got some great content to get into tonight. Instagram, if you're joining us for the first time, I see Grant Winter, the great Grant Winter. That's one of our new young superstars out of New Hampshire, defensive lineman. He may be coming for your quarterback if you don't recruit him. But you guys, we're getting closer to that time. And I'm excited to share the information that we have with you. Now, if you're watching on Instagram, once again, click the link in our bio if you do want to go to YouTube and check out all of the content that will be shown on YouTube. So you guys, let's rock and roll. Let's get into it. I am your host once again, Coach Terrence Wood. This has been a labor of love for me for a very long time. I've been in the football industry. It is a family business for me. My grandfather is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. My dad played. My uncle did play and coach in the Arena Football League. My brother played at Colorado State, had a quick cup of tea there. So as you guys can see, this is something that I'm very passionate about. This is something that I want to give forward, pass it forward to the next generation. Some of you guys have big aspirations. You've got big dreams, and we want to help you guys fulfill those dreams, okay? I see some people coming into the comment section. The great Coach Foss, who many of you guys know, he holds me down every single week as far as Before You Go Pro matters. He says subscribe and make sure that you like so you guys can get notified of all our great content. I see the great David Walker. This is one of our young superstars out in Nevada checking in. Of course, Skip Winter is with us. Thank you for joining us. And then Chris, Bubba's father, the big Bubba that's starting to get some interest, starting to get some offers. Excuse me, is joining us as well. Coach has allergies, so this is not recorded, you guys, unless you guys are catching this later. This is live, so bear with me. I've got my fall allergies kicking in. Some of you guys, it's spring. For me, it happened in the fall too. So let's get after it, you guys. This is a good one tonight. I see, bless you. Thank you, guys. This is a good one tonight, and we're getting closer to the signing period, the early signing period coming up. The regular signing period is coming up shortly. Instagram. So some of you guys are already in position to get to the money, to get to the bag, as the youngsters say. Some of you guys need to get in position, and that's what this is all about tonight, is getting you guys in position, sharing with you guys some of the tips and tactics that we use to help our athletes. So once again, I'm your host, Coach Wood. I went to the University of Colorado, was fortunate enough to get a full ride scholarship out of high school to go play at Colorado. Like I said, my grandfather's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. After that, was fortunate enough to play in the CFL and in the AFL, the Arena Football League. Now, I showed you guys this picture. I know on Instagram you guys can't see it, but on YouTube, I showed you guys this picture at the beginning of the College Football Recruiting Live Show. And the gentleman that you guys see on the right-hand side, that is somebody that I'm very fond of, somebody that I have known since he was early in his college days, and that is Dustin Woods. That is Dustin Woods. And the reason why I want to show you Dustin Woods is because today you guys are sitting on this presentation. Instagram, you guys may be watching live and recorded from Instagram. Today you guys are sitting in this presentation, but I see past that for you. And I know for some of you guys, every once in a while, you need help seeing past that for yourself. But I see past where we are today for you. And all I want to do is get you to the other side, baby. We want to get you to the other side where you're smiling like Dustin. You're happy. You got money in your pocket. And for him, I met him when he was in college. You guys see these slides right here. He was playing Division I football at Miami of Ohio, and things weren't going well for him. Now, today, we only work with athletes we get to before college. But at this point in time, I knew his wide receiver coach. The wide receiver coach called me up and said, hey, this guy used to be at the front of the line. He used to be at the front of the line Instagram during practice, during training camp. And now he's dropped a couple of balls in practice. He's dropped a couple of balls in the game, and we've moved him down the depth chart. We moved him down the depth chart. So for Dustin, you guys, when I met Dustin, it wasn't about him getting to college. For some of you guys, it's about getting to college. For him, it was all about trying to keep consistent and performing at a high level and staying upbeat and keeping his mojo right once he was in college. So getting to college, you guys, is chapter one. For our athletes, we stay with them beyond getting past chapter one, because that's when a lot of the distractions, the layers come, is after you get there. But guess where Dustin is today, you guys? Once again, I met him when he was an athlete in college, but today he's in the NFL, but he's not in the NFL as a player. He's in the NFL as a strength and conditioning coach, as you guys see right here. Now, Instagram, you guys can't see. I'm live with you guys too. You can't see the slides that I'm showing on YouTube. So if you are in the midst of trying to be recruited, your dream is to go play college football, you might want to click on the link in our bio and go to the College Football Recruiting Live Show so you guys can see these slides and get the most out of this. So you guys, once again, I see past where you are today. There was a point in time where Dustin was a player, but as we speak today, he's trying to help the Eagles win a Super Bowl. Now, I'm hoping my 49ers win the Super Bowl, but he's trying to help the Eagles win a Super Bowl. All those superstars that you guys see for the Eagles, your Fletcher Cox, your Jalen Hurts, Smitty, the wide receiver, all those guys he works with on a daily basis. And he's from the Before You Go Pro program. So I'm so excited, you guys, for your future, because there's no telling. There's no telling where you may end up, all right? And these are a few of our babies, a few of the athletes that Coach Foss and I work with, Coach Jay works with, that we've helped already achieve their dreams, you guys. So who is this for? Who is this for? Many of you guys attend the College Football Recruiting Live Show, so some of you guys may already know who this is for. If you're checking this out on Instagram, you may not know what this is all about, but this is about getting to the money. This is about scholarship offers. This recruiting live show, you guys, is intended for the athletes who are serious about playing college football. It doesn't have to be Power 5. If you want to play Power 5, that's fine. But it could be NAIA, it could be Division III, it could be Division II. If you're serious about playing some college football, and there's nothing like it, from somebody, Instagram, from somebody who has already done it. 007, I see you, baby. We're talking College Football Recruiting Live Show. We're talking about how to get the scholarship. If you're somebody that's serious about playing some college football, there's nothing like it, man. I'll never forget the moment I ran out on a college football field and I wasn't in the stands. I wasn't a spectator. I was a part of the show. Nothing like it, you guys. So that's who this is for. That's who this show is intended for. Now, once we get past the part, you guys, once we get past the part where you know what you want to do, where you know you want to play some college football, you know you want to play some college football, Instagram, once we get past that part, and some of you guys have known that since you were a baby almost, since you were 5 years old. Some of you guys have been playing Pop Warner, Little League. Some of you guys decided maybe once you hit 8th grade, 9th grade, that I want to play some college football. Okay, so once we know what we want, then it's about how do we get what we want, right? How do we get to the golden goose, so to speak? So you got to have some relationships, you guys. You got to have some relationships. Some of you guys got coaches that are telling you, hey, you don't need any recruiting support, but they're not doing anything for you themselves, or they don't have the connections and the relationships themselves. They coach at a small school in a small town, and they've never helped anybody get to a significant college. And that's who you're taking your advice from. That's who you're putting your hopes and hanging your hat on, helping you get where you want to go. So you got to read the tea leaves a little bit. Instagram, you got to, I see Hunter, what's going on, baby? You got to read the tea leaves. If the class ahead of you did not have anybody go to the colleges that you want to go to, well, what makes you feel like this time is going to be different? What makes you feel like coach is going to put it in gear this year when he didn't put it in gear for the last class? Okay, so you guys got to keep these things in mind, right? So relationships and leverage is what's going to help move the needle, you guys. When it comes to college football recruiting, you guys in Instagram world, you guys in YouTube, behind the Instagram crew, if you see me looking past you, is because I got YouTube right here. What helps move the needle, because you're in a very competitive industry. What you're saying you want to do, I want to get a college football scholarship to Syracuse. I want to get a college football scholarship to San Diego State. That's very competitive. Okay, so we want to move the needle for you. Not only are we going to teach you the tips and the tactics, but we want to move the needle for you, right? In all my years of doing this, you guys, and it's been 2 decades, it's been over 2 decades formally with Before You Go Pro, probably about 17 years. But all my years of doing this, the thing that moves the needle the best, YouTube, the thing that moves the needle the best as far as college football recruiting Instagram is relationships. Relationships. And it doesn't have to be that you have the relationship. It could be that you're with us and we got the relationship. It could be that your brother played at this school. He's got the relationship. It could be that your coach, your high school, junior college coach, your prep school coach has the relationship. Somebody's got to have a relationship, right, to really move things. So right here, you guys, you see Coach Corey Fuller. Coach Corey Fuller is at Florida State, school that many of you guys would love to play for. Guerrero, I see you, baby. We're talking college football recruiting. Right here, you see him with us, me and Q, the guru, and we do this every Thursday, the Locker Room Show. Part of the reason, you guys, that we even started the show was to get coaches on the show, to give you guys information that you need, and for us to build the relationship behind the scenes of the show so that we got leverage with these coaches, so that when we put your film in front of them, guess what happens? A match is made. A match is made. But we're going to have an easier time putting your film in front of them if we have a relationship with them. And a lot of you guys don't want any recruiting support. You think you got it covered, but your DMs and your emails aren't flying. Your phone calls aren't being returned. And maybe they will if you have a relationship. So we want to talk about relationships and leverage, you guys. Check this out right here. Now, Instagram, you guys can't see these slides. So if you go to the link in our bio, the College Football Recruiting Show link, you guys can see the slides that are being played on YouTube behind you. And I see you. Hopefully all is well. We're talking college football recruiting. Now, I've got a son, you guys, that's into music. He loves music. He would love to be a professional musician. Right here on the screen, you guys see music industry labels, right? You guys see record producers. You see the great Quincy Jones on the right? Well, I could cold call these record labels. I could try my best on LinkedIn and emails to get to Quincy Jones. That is my prerogative. That is my right. It very well may happen, Instagram. But the chances of me getting through when thousands of others are trying that are probably talented as well are trying to get through are slim to none. And that's what we do as parents. That's what we do as athletes. We try to get through to these schools, but we're having slim chances, right? So the biggest thing, I'm going to teach you some tactics real quick too, but the biggest thing that I could tell an athlete that wants to start to get some exposure and interest with college coaches, the number one thing is where's some leverage, and where's the leverage in the form of relationships? Where's the industry relationship that's going to move us closer, right, to the bag, to that opportunity? Because this kid is talented just like me. And why should they choose me over here? Well, I've got a relationship saying, hey, go thumbs up. I stand on the table for this kid. All right. So it is what it is. You guys are in a competitive industry. Like I said, this would be no different than me. I'm not from the music industry. This would be no different than me trying to reach out on behalf of my son to record labels. It's something that I should do because you never know. And I want to put out good energy, but my chances are slim. Okay, I see the great Sadite. What's going on? This is one of our superstars out of SoCal. Had a great championship season at Chaffey Junior College, and he's about to go. And that's why he attends this show, because he's trying to get after it. I see Callie Buss. Thank you for joining us. This is Coach Wood. We're talking college football recruiting. Talk college football recruiting. Skip, I see you. And CSO, I see you, baby. We're talking college football recruiting. Free advice, free game. If you guys want to see the slides that are behind you, go to the college football recruiting link in our bio. You guys can go on YouTube, see the slides behind you. This is something that I've lived, you guys. This is something that I've taught. This is something that we do on a daily basis. Coach Foss and I were talking earlier about schools that we've talked to and athletes that we want to go to certain places, okay? So this is what this is all about. So, you guys, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Many of you guys would love to play for this school right here. Many of you guys would love to play for San Diego State. You may have already reached out to San Diego State. You may have already attended their camp. But maybe it's just not moving for you. You know, you haven't gotten a call back. Maybe you got some snail mail, but nothing significant. Well, think about it, you guys. This is just like me trying to hit the record exec and not having a relationship. Well, now you guys are currently listening, YouTube, Instagram. You guys are currently listening to somebody. You're currently listening to a program, a company that has a relationship. With San Diego State. Coach Darian Hagan is their running backs coach. I have a relationship with him through years in the industry. And then plus we went to the same alma mater, you guys. So think about it. If you are a great DB, and maybe you're right in his backyard in San Diego, but let's say we've got a great DB who's a part of our program, or maybe listening to this show and then reaches out to me. And then you're trying to reach out to Coach Hagan, and we're trying to reach out to Coach Hagan. And we know that he needs a DB. Which DB is he most likely to look at first? Well, check this out right here, you guys. This is a picture of me with Coach Hagan. And this was just a month ago. On the right, you guys can't see this on Instagram. So if you want to see this, you got to go to the College Football Recruiting Live link in our bio so you guys can see what I'm talking about with YouTube. But right there on the right, you guys, was just yesterday. I wanted to give him some time to get settled, but you knew I was going to hit Coach Hagan up and say, hey, what do you guys need for recruiting purposes? So right there at the top, I say, D. Hagan, welcome back to Cali. He's originally from California. Keep me posted on any position needs. I've got high school, junior college, and portal kids that are already vetted and ready to go. He says they need all. He says, all, fam, we need them all. Because they're going to flip that roster. Not as much as my alma mater CU did, but they're going to flip that roster at San Diego State with the new coach. So, you guys, that's the industry. That's like me wanting to get my son in front of Quincy Jones or another record label, but me having somebody that I'm connected to that was just with Quincy Jones a month ago and has his personal cell phone number. Okay, so that's how this works. And that's why we tell our athletes never burn bridges. If you're talking to coaches, I don't care. Hey, Motion, I see you. We're talking football recruiting. Coach Wood with you. Never burn bridges in this industry because this is the entertainment industry. Football is the entertainment industry. I had somebody that was taping my feet a trainer that was taping my feet when I was at the University of Colorado. Today, that person that was taping my feet, and my feet are decent looking, but they're not the most beautiful thing on the world. This person that was taping my feet is now the athletic director at UC Davis, a Division I school. Thank God I was cordial with him. Thank God I was nice to him. Thank God we had a good relationship when he was taping my feet. Because now, guess what? He always welcomes me whenever I call him at UC Davis. If I want some tickets to go see a game, I know I can call up Rocco. He's going to take care of me. Who's taping your feet right now? Who's going to be taping your feet next year when you're at that university? Who's calling you right now? Daniel, I see we're talking college football recruiting. Who's calling you from that NAIA school, that D3 school that you know you're probably not going to go to? How are you treating that person? So keep that in mind, you guys. This is an industry. People don't forget names. People don't forget the people that treated them wrong. And I want you guys to keep that in mind. So right here's a perfect example. Some of you guys may want to go play for San Diego State. Well, we just talked to them. We just talked to him yesterday, just had dinner with one of their coaches. So a lot of times, you guys, we talk recruiting calendar. And we talk recruiting calendar, Instagram, because if you know the recruiting calendar, then you know the timeline that you're on. You know that if you're running on time or if you're running a little late. It's okay if you're running a little late, but it may be time to get some support and maybe time to get some help. So let's look at the recruiting calendar as we speak. We're in that green section, right? And this is the 2023-2024 calendar. We're in that green section, okay? So that means that we're in the contact period. And right now, guys are on official visits. Guys, of course, are being contacted. But look, next week, we go to the dead period. So you may be wondering, hey, why am I not getting the same contact, or why am I not getting that offer to go on that trip? Well, it may be because things have slowed down a little bit, but you would know this if you know all about A. Sutton, Alex Sutton. That's one of our superstars. He is a tight end out of California, Hancock, JC. What's going on, baby? Hopefully all is well, and you're up. You know you're up. You're on time. So this is what we look at. We know Alex's timeline. He's out of junior college. He's ready to go off and play at a university. So we know exactly where things are at. Now, things may not always go exactly as planned. Things may not always go exactly as the timeline. Why? Because this is a competitive industry. But if we've got strategy, if we know timeline, then we're eventually going, and we've got a willing participant, somebody that's working their tail off, we're going to eventually get to where we know we're going to be and where we want to be. And Alex knows that and excited about it. So let's talk timeline, you guys. Why is this an important time for you to be on this show tonight? Well, this is important because the early signing period is coming up. The early signing period, you guys can put pen to paper. Then we've got the regular signing period coming up. So that's why this is important. And at the end of the day, just like I said, we want you to have a strategy. If you have a strategy and you know where you want to go, then you're going to get where you want to go. So that's what this is all about. So I wanted to get into, and I don't want to keep you guys too long. We're going to be running the college football recruiting live show, you guys. Instagram. We've been running this. If you haven't been joining us and you're looking for a college football scholarship, you got to get with us. You got to get with us and get with the ball game. We've been doing this every single Tuesday. So if you haven't been catching us live, you need to run back the recordings. Sometimes we talk about athletes that are in our program and what they're currently going through and our strategies with those athletes. At the end of the day, you need a strategy. If you want to get that girl, the top girl on the cheerleading squad to the prom, you better have a strategy, right? You better have a strategy, or else she's going to go with the quarterback. She's going to go with the quarterback. She's going to go with the default. All right. So, talking about strategies, you guys, what's your strategy to be recruited? Now, if I'm talking to people that already got the school they want on the table, if I'm talking to people that are straight, then I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the one that doesn't have what they want at the time of this recording, and I'm talking to the one that may not have anything. That's who I'm talking to. And they're in the class of 2024, or they're a senior at the time of watching this recording. So they're looking at the timeline. They're saying, oh, okay, the signing days are coming up. That doesn't mean that the end of the world is coming. That doesn't mean that I need to be worried because I'm looking at this kid and he has something. That means that I'm getting some support. All right. And I know what I should be expecting. So I've got a strategy and I'm strategizing. And in order for tonight, you guys to have a good strategy and also keep some things in mind, I want you to have in mind. We're going to go over top recruiting questions again, because we've been getting a lot of questions lately. I see Gypsum. What's going on, Gypsum? We're talking college football recruiting. You're live with Before You Go Pro and Coach Wood. And if you see me talking past you, it's because YouTube is behind you. Ty Johnson, I see you, and I see that football picture on your profile, baby. So if you are somebody looking for a college football recruiting scholarship, you're in the place to be. If you want to see the slides that I'm showing YouTube, then go to the link in our bio, the College Football Recruiting Live Show link. All right, baby. Hopefully all is well. Now, you guys, if I'm thinking top recruiting questions, we get asked a lot of questions every single day. Coach Foss, Coach Jay, myself, we get asked a lot of recruiting questions. So I'm going to go over two that I've been asked recently, and hopefully this serves you. But once again, we've had a lot of episodes already. So if you haven't been catching them and you need some help with recruiting, then go to those free episodes on YouTube, okay? Instagram, go to the YouTube link and get to those free episodes. But tonight, we're going to cover two questions. We're going to cover two questions that I recently got this week. So this was one. I was just talking to a young man, and he said, Coach, is there still time? Coach, is there still time to get recruited? Now, when he said that, the thing that I thought of is immediately was this: what do you want? What do you want? Because you're asking me, is there still time? But I don't know what you want. Now, usually, most young men that I talk to, they want to go play some Division I football. So that's what I was assuming for this young man. And indeed, that was the case. But for you, it may be just an opportunity. For you, it may be just a junior college spot. So what do you want? Because you guys are all individual contractors. You guys are all going to get separate things, most likely. You're going to have separate opportunities, you guys. So at the end of the day, what do you want your college football experience to be? So when he said, is there still time? I said, well, what do you want? Because if you want to be the quarterback that the University of Michigan signs this year, you want to be the high school, junior college, transfer portal quarterback that Michigan signs, chances are that boat has already sailed. Chances are that boat has already sailed for this year. If they're not already contacting you. Now, they may already be contacting you, Instagram, YouTube, whoever's watching this, they may already be contacting you. You may be a bad quarterback that's got multiple options, and Michigan is one of them. So if you haven't committed somewhere, you haven't, of course, signed, but Michigan is contacting you, then you don't have to worry about what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about a quarterback who's pretty good, that wants to go play for Michigan, and they're not contacting him, and it is early December. Chances are that ship has already sailed. Why do I know that ship has already sailed? Well, I know that because I know timelines. You guys. And then also I can look online and see that they've already got a kid committed who's a high school kid, who's a quarterback to play for Michigan. And believe me, they're not going to bring in two high school kids. They're probably going to get a kid from the portal, and they're probably going to bring in a high school kid. And then also, I know how the business works, you guys. Instagram, I know how the industry works. Ree, I see you. I love you. That is actually my mom, and in love. And she just had a birthday the other day. So happy birthday, and thank you for checking us out. We're teaching these young men about some college football recruiting and how to get to their goals. And if you see me talking past you, it's because we're on YouTube behind you. But you guys, I know that ship has sailed because I know timelines. And I also know how the industry works. And the timeline on Michigan finding their next quarterback, the quarterback that they're going to sign in this class, you guys, that timeline is like a 2-year timeline. It's like a 1.5-year timeline. They've probably been talking to this young man. Let's see what his name is. Jaden Davis. They've probably been talking to Jaden Davis for over a year. They've probably been talking to Jaden Davis for over a year, because if we're going to sign a Power 5 quarterback and he's a high school kid, meaning that we don't even know if he can perform on this level, we probably want to build a relationship with this young man. So you guys, it doesn't mean that that can't be you eventually. It means that you may need a strategy that doesn't involve you going straight from high school to get there, especially if we're already at the beginning of December. Now, what does that mean? That also means that maybe I don't want to spend my time bombarding Michigan right now, because timelines are getting a little tighter, right? Especially if I'm a quarterback where they're only going to take 1 or 2. I'm not a wide receiver. I'm not a DB. I'm not a defensive lineman or offensive lineman where they're going to take multiple kids. They're probably going to take 1 high school quarterback. So maybe I need to spend my time with the Central Michigan. I need to spend my time with the Central Michigan. Right here, check out this picture. You see this young man. Obviously, he does not need to be trying to reach out to Ohio State if he wants to play running back, because he's not prototypical. All right. So first and foremost, you guys always need to get an evaluation. And if you've been with us on the College Football Recruiting Live show, I see J1, I see Mommy Manager. What's going on? I see Jazz. We're talking college football recruiting. If you know somebody that wants to be recruited, then you're in the right spot. You're in the right spot. Now, if you guys want to see the rest of this live show, you're going to have to go on YouTube. So click the link in our bio, because we will be cutting this short soon on Instagram. Okay, you guys, but thank you for joining us. So you guys, you have to get an evaluation first so you know who to pitch, right? So you know who to go after. So if you look like this kid right here, you're not going to go after the big Power 5 schools. You're probably not even going to go after the FBS or the D2 schools. All right. But you'll know that if you're joining us with the College Football Recruiting Live show. So let's say you're going after the right schools. Let's say you are, you've already got your evaluation and you are going to go after the right schools. If you are trying to reach out to the schools and they're not getting back to you, or you're not really breaking the ice, you guys, it's for one of these 2 reasons. It's for one of the 2 reasons that you see right here. Either you're not at the top of their board, or they don't know about you yet. And for a lot of the athletes we work with Before You Go Pro, Instagram, YouTube, a lot of you guys just don't have the exposure you deserve or need to break the ice. And how can I tell that? I could tell that by your huddle numbers. You know how many views are on Huddle. I can tell that by talking to you, and you tell me that that you're the only one that's reaching out for yourself. And you, of course, you're doing that sporadically because you've got school, you've got sports, you guys. So you're not really having enough to penetrate the ice. Maybe mom or dad is doing it, but they've got their job, they're 9 to 5. So it's not really enough to penetrate with as much competition as there is, you guys. All right. So if you guys are not hearing from the schools, and they're the right schools, like they're schools that I would tell you to go after for your talent level, from what I'm seeing on film, and for your grades, and you're still not hearing anything, it's probably, you guys, because you haven't taken enough shots. There's not enough exposure. You haven't reached out enough. Or maybe you are on their board, but you're not high enough on their board. Okay. So it's one of those 2 things, and we can fix both of those. Now, this is something that I showed you guys last week. This is something that I showed you guys, and this speaks to the timelines that I was talking to you guys about. Instagram, you guys can't see this. We're about to cut you guys short. You need to go to the link in our bio if you want to catch the end of this recruiting live show. Matter of fact, I'm going to say bye to you guys tonight. So appreciate you guys joining us. And once again, I'm Coach Wood, and we help athletes across the country get to the next level. So if you know somebody that needs some college football recruiting support, or just mental mindset support regardless, and we are the company to help out with that. So check us out, and we'd love to help you guys out. We'll see you later. All right. We're going to end that. And then YouTube, just me and you tonight right now, baby. So you guys, we're talking about last week. Last week on the Recruiting Live show, and keep this in mind, we're talking timelines, right? Because just like some of you guys may feel a little pressure, to find a school. These schools feel the pressure too. They feel pressure when they're going through coaching changes, and they feel pressure to fill up their classes a little bit, especially the higher level schools. So check this out. Last week, I was showing you guys this, right? This was just last week. These are Division I programs that didn't have coaches, okay? FBS programs that didn't have coaches. See all the TBAs on the right-hand side? Once again, this is just last week. First week in December. Now we're coming up on second week of December. See all the TBAs on the right-hand side? Now look at this week. Look at this week, okay? All of those positions are filled, except for Troy, where the arrow is. All of those positions are filled except for Troy. This is last week, all the TBAs on the right, and then this week. All those TBAs are filled, you guys, in 1 week. Now, obviously, they've been working and vetting coaches and trying to decide who they were going to bring on and hire. But all of those positions are filled, you guys, just from last week. Just from last week, us talking last week. Why do you think all those positions are filled, you guys? All those positions are filled because of recruiting and the transfer portal. Recruiting in the transfer portal in the same very timeline that I got you guys going off of. That's why all those positions are filled since we talked last week. Let's look at the FCS level. Let's look at the FCS level. Now, last week is on the left. This week is on the right. Last week, all the FCS options were open. This week, some of them are taken. Some of them are taken care of, you guys. So right here is a perfect illustration, you guys, of how the different levels work. Obviously, the premier level is Power 5. It's FBS. They're not going to play around. They're not going to play around with hiring coaches. They're not going to play around with trying to be ready for the recruiting period and for the transfer portal. This is also why so many schools choose the wrong coaches, because they're too busy. Some of these schools are like a revolving door as far as coaches. And it's because everything is moving so fast. You guys think it's moving fast for you? It's moving fast for these schools too. So that's why a lot of them choose the wrong coaches, you guys. But this is all based off of timelines. That's why you guys see last week, all these coaching jobs were open. This week, they're filled. And they're filled at the FBS level because these schools don't want to be left behind. The FCS, look, they're still filling. Why is the FCS taking longer? Because the FBS is top fiddle. The FBS is top fiddle on TV contracts. The FBS is top fiddle on top coaches. The FBS is top fiddle on portal and recruiting. So these FCS schools want to fill up next fast. Then you'll see the D2. Then you'll see the D3 if there's any vacancies. But it's going to be the same thing with the recruiting. The FBS is going to try to take a lot of recruits off the table during the early period. And then the FCS is going to be working in the D2s. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing for you. And that's why we want to have the College Football Recruiting Live show, because for the most part, the athlete that watches this show is going to be the underexposed athlete. It's going to be the athlete that deserves the opportunity, but for whatever reason doesn't have exactly what they want at this time. And guess what, you guys? When you're that guy, all you need is one. All you need is one. And that's what this show is about, is teaching you how to get your one. And a lot of times, you guys, from what I see, is when you get one, more comes. We had a kid just go in the portal from Colorado. As soon as he got one, all these other schools start coming. I seen Chris on here. We got Bubba, his son. He just got one D2 offer. Now all the schools in that conference are starting to offer, and then we're going to leverage it up for more. Okay. And then all of a sudden you get a Mountain West break of ice or something, or a Big Sky Division I FCS break of ice, and then you got more. All right. So it's all of a sudden I got one record deal, and then this record company hears about it and they want to check out my demo tape, my mixtape. That's the same thing, you guys, in this industry. All you need is one. All you need is one. All right. So how are we going to get to our one? Coaching changes, you guys, are a great way to get to your one. A matter of fact, here's our bread and butter. Coaching changes or connections, relationships. Relationships are always going to be where we go first with before you go pro. Then low-hanging fruit, as we always talk about. Look at Western Illinois' record. 0-11. If you go to their overall, to the far right, 0-11. They only scored 150 points this year. That means they scored just 2 touchdowns a game. That's what they averaged, you guys. And they gave up 426 points on the right. So they gave up 40 points a game. You don't think they need talent? You don't think Western Illinois need talent? So how does that look, Coach Wood? This is how it looks. This is how it looks. Because like I said, connections, you may not have any connections. You may be like me trying to break into the record label, into the record industry for my son. You may not have any connections. That's okay, because you're listening to this show now. So you know the timeline is going, so you want to start going. And then you're going to go get some help from somebody that has connections, whether it's us, whether it's your coach, whether it's somebody that you know from across town that you're good with, that opponent that you guys struck up a relationship. You're going to go get some connections. Okay. But after you got connection, then it's about low-hanging fruit, and it's about coaching changes. So how does this look? Right here's the low-hanging fruit one. I'm going to show you the low-hanging fruit one, right? All right, low-hanging fruit, Western Illinois. First thing, I've got a Division I evaluation, probably because Western Illinois is an FCS program. I probably got an FBS grade. So I probably got an FBS grade. This would apply to one of our players like a Tony Plett that just came in. This would apply to a Jake Pecor. This would apply to a Sadite. This would apply to somebody that has an FBS grade, but they don't have what they want yet. I'll probably go, I don't have anything yet. So I've got an FBS grade, but for whatever, a group of 5 grade, but for whatever reason, I don't have what I want yet. What I'm probably going to do, you guys, is go, and this is what we would do as a company. I'm keeping it real with you. So you guys can do it for yourself, or you could say, that makes sense. They got the connections. I'm going to go join their team. All right. Like so many of these beautiful young men that are on this call tonight. So what that looks like is I've got an FBS grade. Maybe I'm a Mountain West level type kid, but for whatever reason, I don't have anything. But I'm going to go FCS, low-hanging fruit, or I'm going to go FCS, coaching change school. Coaching change school. So look at the schools on the right. This is FCS. Look at the bottom, the third one to the bottom, UC Davis. And that's Tim Pluff. He just got the job. See last week on the left, UC Davis had TBD. UC Davis had to be determined. This week, Tim Pluff, who's an alum from UC Davis, he's the head coach. You don't think he's trying to figure out recruiting wider? Not only is he trying to figure out his staff, but his head is spinning. He's trying to figure out recruiting right now. Then all of a sudden, he gets the film from us. He gets the film from your coach. He gets the film through a DM or social media showing him this great prospect that's got grades and that's got a great social media profile. Nothing crazy on his social media. But that's really an FBS level athlete. If we think that you're an FBS level athlete, or you get a firm, very solid film evaluation, and somebody says, yeah, you're an FBS level athlete, then chances are Coach Pluff is going to believe the same thing he's going to see the same thing, or somebody on his staff is going to see the same thing that we see. Chances are, if you're going low-hanging fruit and you're going after Western Illinois and you're really probably more like a FBS talent, chances are they're going to see the same thing that we see, you guys. So guess what? They're going to want to move quick on you. For one, you reached out to them, so they know you're interested. They don't have to spend any money flying or driving to your school to find out if you're interested. They know you're interested because you're reaching out to them. But for two, they're looking at your film and they're saying, "What? This dude he's better than us. This is a good prospect." Dude, they're going to reach out to you sooner than later. If for some reason they don't, it's because they just have not seen the film yet. They may have seen your link come through. They may have seen your DM message come through. They have not actually looked at it yet. If the film evaluation is right. So once again, you guys, when we talk about bread and butter, and I'm trying to give you guys game, we're going connections first. We're going Darian Hagan first. Then we're going low-hanging fruit. Then we're going new coaches. New coaches. And the only reason new coaches isn't above low-hanging fruit is because the new coaches take a little time to get going. They take a little time to get back to your old message. The low-hanging fruit, they know they're struggling. They're still there from the year before, and they know if they don't recruit some guys soon, they're going to be out. That school's going to be looking for some new coaches. All right. So that is our bread and butter, you guys. When we have an athlete that doesn't have anything, we know that we need to get a firm film evaluation on him. And then these are some of the tactics that we're using. All right. These are some of the tactics that we're using. If you're trying to get after South Dakota State, chances are, and you're really an FBS level talent, chances are South Dakota State's going to watch that film. South Dakota State does not have a lot of people reaching out to them. South Dakota State does not have a lot of people reaching out to them. And once again, you guys, and this is really one thing I wanted to get tonight, is having confidence in who you are as a player. Having confidence in who you are as a player. This is a very competitive industry. Your confidence has to be able to prop you up, even when the phone isn't ringing. You guys want to develop that now, because that's what's going to help you survive this industry, especially the higher you go. Your confidence has to prop you up. If I want to get into Hollywood and I know and I'm confident that I'm really a good actor, if I want to get into the music industry and I know I can sing, then I'm going to allow that confidence to prop me up when the phone's not ringing. All right. To make me reach out to another record label or to go to another casting call. All right. Or to reach out to another coach. All right. You've got to be confident in yourself, because a lot of you guys are legit. A lot of you guys are the ticket, but for whatever reason, God's just got you waiting a little bit. Okay. So you got to trust that. Here's a perfect example. These two young men that I'm showing you guys were in the same position as many of you guys in early December. A matter of fact, when they were coming out of school, they didn't even have the early period. So these guys were in many of you guys' positions. Basically, what I'm saying is kids that we evaluated. We knew they were legit. We actually knew right away these kids were Division I athletes. But for whatever reason, they didn't have it when we met them. They didn't have it until basically the week before signing day. And I'm not talking the early signing period. I'm talking the regular signing period. And I've had kids go past the first few days of the regular signing period and go Division I. You're only looking for one. So these two kids right here, you guys, did not have scholarship offers to Division I schools a week, 2 weeks before the regular signing period, both of them. And guess where these kids are at today? The one on the left is about to go to training camp with the USFL, or excuse me, the XFL, Rochester McFerris, and have his second season. and he's already had a short stint in the NFL. And then the one on the right just played against the Browns this past weekend, Elijah Cooks. And back to this picture, at this time, when they were seniors in high school, they didn't have nothing. At this time, when they were seniors in high school, they didn't have the schools that they would eventually end up at. Rogesterman ended up at Hawaii. Elijah started at Nevada and then finished at San Jose State. But they did not have those schools. All right. But we were using strategies like this. Nevada was terrible. Hawaii was terrible. We were grabbing low-hanging fruit for those boys to eat, and they ate it up. They ate it up, and this is where they're at today. And that doesn't have to be your journey. You may not even want to play pro. You just may be looking for an NAI opportunity or a D2 opportunity, D3 opportunity, but we're going to use the same formula. Okay, we're going to use the same formula. We've got D3 connections. We've got NAI connections. We're going to start with our connections. Then we're going to go low-hanging fruit. Then we're going to go new coaches. All right. Now, our next question. So this was answering the question, you guys, do we still have time? Is there still time? All right. So our last question, our next question is this. Contact has stopped. Contact has stopped. I saw the great Grant Winter on Instagram. I saw the great Skip Winter, his father, with us on YouTube. And I know this has been a couple schools from them where we had contact with Syracuse. We had contact with this school. And for whatever reason, contact has stopped. And that may be some of you guys watching this recorded or live. You went to camp at Sacramento State. You went to camp at Florida International, and you had some talks with that coach. He was DMing you. Now contact has stopped, and you know that we're getting closer to the signing period. So I want to talk about that, you guys, because that was another one that we have recently got. And, this is a good topic. This is a good topic because this actually gets to the whole premise of tonight, and kind of where I want you guys to get your mindset if you really indeed want to be in this industry. And that book that's over my shoulder, the Before You Go Pro book, if you guys are athletes, if you guys are parents, you have not read that book, I highly encourage you to get it. You can get it off of our websites on Amazon and all the places you can find that. I wrote that book years ago, basically when we started the program, and it still applies today. It actually applies maybe even more so today than when it was written. So if you guys do want to find out how to navigate some things with the recruiting process and beyond, that book is good. If you want the audio version of that book, reach out to us at info@beforeyougopro or .com, or Terrence, that's my name, TERRENCE @beforeyougopro.com. I'd love to send you a free audio version with me narrating of that book, because it covers a lot of the stuff that you guys have already gone through or are about to face if you're serious about this industry. Okay, you guys? So let's talk about the question again, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to your dinners and everything else. You got your homework, your finals. Let's get back to this question. Contact has stopped, Coach. Contact has stopped. Does that mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Okay, good question. When contact is stopped, there's many things that you guys want to keep in mind as a potential prospect, as a recruit. It doesn't, the thing that we think of first, because we're human beings, we're all human, we tend to think negative. We tend to think that contact has stopped. That means that they're not recruiting me anymore. That means that they don't want me, right? That's what we tend to think. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that is the case. I would say a higher percentage is that that's not the case. I would say that, maybe 60%, 70% of the time, that's not the case. There's many elements that could cause a coach to stop recruiting you. Now, what you do know, or stop contacting you, what you do know is you're not the number one guy. So let's be honest. you're not the number one guy. If we're at the beginning of December and they're not contacting you right now, you're not the number one guy. That's okay. And I want to show you an example of this. Once again, been in the game a long time, so coach has got plenty of examples for the show. But here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example. This is Aaron Criswell. This is somebody that's done with college football. He actually finished a few years ago, but I want to bring him up as an example. This is somebody, you guys, that I knew. I actually was blessed to coach him when he was a sophomore in high school. So I was still an on-the-field coach. And he went to my alma mater. So he went to my high school, Archbishop Reardon. He happened to be there. I got done playing in Canada, got released at the end of training camp, and I went back to my high school to coach. And he was a sophomore, very talented sophomore on a senior laden team, actually a championship team, a conference a championship team, and he was a sophomore. You guys, I knew when he was first of all, I had somebody, his track coach that I'm very tight with. Shouts out Mark Rosillo if you happen to see this. I had somebody contact me his freshman year in high school and tell me about him. So we knew his freshman year he was very talented. I got to literally coach him and put my hands on him his sophomore year in high school, and I knew right away he was a Division I level talent. Now that's actually where he ended up, but it would be years later, you guys, until Aaron got to play for UNLV. He went to prep school after high school. He went to junior college. I'm gonna take a sip of water. He went to junior college after prep school, before he got to play for UNLV. And once he got to play for UNLV, he was who we thought he would be. He was a great player at UNLV, ended up being an all-conference player at UNLV and having a shot to play professionally. But he didn't get it right away. Now, back to the question, contact has stopped. Contact has stopped. Now, you guys have heard me talk about Coach Cormier. Coach Cormier was actually at UNLV. He was the one that gave Aaron Criswell. Once again, we talk connections. I played in college with Coach Cormier. Right now, he's the wide receiver coach as we speak at Ball State, basically a Midwest UNLV, a Midwest Mountain West level type school right now as we speak. And I'm showing you that we've gotten players to him before. All right. So I call up Coach Cormier when Aaron was in high school. When he was in high school about Aaron. He did not take him until 2.5 years after high school. 2.5, 3 years after high school. And then when he finally got him, he loved him. All right. So contact had definitely stopped with Aaron. Contact was all over the place with Aaron. And I'll give you a perfect example, you guys, but this is to illustrate the point. Coach Cormier had contacted Aaron maybe the second game or so of his, or maybe middle of the season of his junior college season, his second junior college season. So yes, he didn't take him until 3 years after high school. And he knew about him his sophomore year in high school. All right. So he's in year 2 after year 1 of prep school. He's in year 2 of junior college. Coach Cormier is calling him, and then contact stops. So some of you guys are saying, what does that mean when contact stops? Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that these coaches are human beings. So sometimes they forget about athletes that aren't at the very tip top of their board. Sometimes they just have things going on in their personal life or whatever. Some of these coaches are going through coaching changes. So they're wondering if they should take that job over there or they shouldn't, but for whatever reason, they're not contacting you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get the opportunity. In Aaron's case, contact had stopped. He did not hear back from Coach Cormier after about midway through his junior college season. Then signing day comes. Still nothing from Coach Cormier, right? Couple schools calling. There's some interest. There's some Division I interest, but no offers. We've gone through the regular period now, so now we're in early spring, and nobody is giving Aaron a D1 offer, right? Now we're getting the spring ball, all right? And some schools, there's always opportunities, you guys. A lot of you guys are stressed out. There's always opportunities. Now, the later opportunities do tend to lean more towards older kids, and when I say older kids, I'm talking about junior college kids in prep school or portal kids. But there's always opportunities in this industry. So now we're in the spring, you guys. And there's starting to be some interest in Aaron. There's starting to be, but he's sitting at the house. He's eligible to leave anytime he wants. He's already got his junior college degree. He's already played 2 years of junior college ball. He's got great film. He's got great grades. We're just waiting at the house, fielding interest, right? He's got some interest from Cal, and he's got some interest probably from like a Big Sky school. And he's hoping and praying that Cal Berkeley, since he's a California native, is the one that jumps on him. And once again, you only need one. You got right. So now we're talking. If we're talking about the middle of the football season through the regular signing period into the spring, probably February, March, probably March. So we're talking that Aaron has not heard from Coach Cormier probably December, January, February, so 4 months. So he's talking to this coach, hoping that he's going to get an offer. And then all of a sudden, nothing. He's asking me, I'm not hearing back from Coach. And it's 4 months. 4 months later, you guys, once again, after the regular period, Coach Cormier calls me up one day, and this is an illustration of how the industry moves. And I want you guys to know this because it may be some of you guys' situation. Coach Cormier calls me up, and he says, Coach T, is Aaron still available? And I said, yeah, he's still available. But now Cal's talking to him, and I think San Diego State and this Big Sky school is talking to him. And he said, man, we had something fall through with one of the wide receivers we thought we were going to get. And then we had another wide receiver that's on our team now that's not going to be able to play. It was probably grades or something off the field, not going to be able to play. We need a wide receiver bad. He said, I'm going to call you back. He said, but he confirmed. He said, he's still available, right? I said, yeah, he's still available. We hadn't heard from Coach Cormier in 4 months. And then all of a sudden, is he still available? And then at the end of the day, you see where he ended up, right? And this is somebody that will become an all-league performer for UNLV, you guys. Coach Cormier said, I'll call you back. He called me back in 15 minutes. And everything went from we haven't heard from this coach in 4 months to you have a scholarship offer. We don't have time to trip you. Do you want it or not? So when you guys ask me, hey, contact has stopped, coach, contact has stopped. What does that mean? It really doesn't mean nothing but contact has stopped. And it also means that maybe you're not at the tip top of their board. But contact had stopped for Joe Flacco too. And then guess what? He's just started the last two games for the Cleveland Browns. And it's probably going to finish the season with them and is performing decent enough. He'd probably get another year if he wants. And contact had stopped for him until the 12th game of the NFL season this year. So contact has stopped is a temporary thing. It's a temporary thing. Even when they tell us no, you guys, I've had plenty of coaches say, no, we don't need any tight ends right now. And then next week, their whole song change. So contact has stopped doesn't mean anything. And that's a long way for me, you guys, to tell you that. Contact has stopped means that you should reach out to them and get the exact word. Get them to tell you no. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, yeah, we forgot about, we had some coaching changes, so some things got mixed up. But yes, we're definitely still interested. Can you send me your end of year film? A lot of times that's the conversation. So contact and stop means nothing, you guys. It means try to get an answer, try to find out what's going on. So I want to leave you guys with that tonight. If you guys do need support, that we are open for support. We're going to talk over some more tactics, some practical tactics next week. And we're probably going to bring in some coaches too, you guys, so you can check us out. But this is our recruiting database. Coach Foss has been sending this out today. We've been sending this out. I've been sending this out. So this is what coaches look through, you guys, and they find our recruits. And now they're starting to get offers. And we want you to be on the recruiting database. Now, we only accept 10 athletes at each position, so you definitely want to reach out to us now if you feel like you need support and you don't have any at this moment, you guys. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, the channel that you're paying attention to right now. Please share, because this is a labor of love for us. We have the Locker Room Show on Thursdays, where we bring in some of the best in the industry. We've got some really cool guests lined up for you guys. A lot of guys open up to us, a lot of coaches, players once the season ends. So we're going to be bringing you guys some of the best in the football industry. Does anybody have any comments, any questions, any concerns about the recruiting process, about maybe their own personal recruiting situation? If you do, please feel free to put that in the comment section right now, because once again, we'd love to help you out. And we've seen, I'm not going to say we've seen it all, but we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot. And once again, you guys, our two questions tonight were, do I have time? And the answer is yes, depending on what you want. The answer is yes. Do I have time to go Division I? Yes. Do I have time to go Division II? Yes. Do I have time to go Division III? Yes. Do I have time to go NAIA? Yes. And if you're watching this recording, we are at the beginning of December. The answer is yes. Why am I saying yes? Because I'm trusting that you're going to get a film evaluation. You're going to have somebody check out your grades. And I'm trusting that if you're tuning into our show, you're going to take the right process and the right strategy to get what you want. But once again, you guys, here's our main three. You know, I'm not going to make it seem like we have a magic pixie dust, that we sprinkle on people or anything like that. This is our main three. We go to the people we know, the connections and relationships. We just have a bunch, because this is a legacy business for me, and I've got a team with connections. But we go connections, low-hanging fruit, new coaches. So how would this look in another industry? Connections, relationships. So I've got relationships in the music industry. I've got relationships in Hollywood. So you go to those people first. Low-hanging fruit. What would low-hanging fruit be in the record industry? It'd be a record label that's struggling. It would be a movie with a low budget, And then new coaches right here would be new record label, new movie, new producer. You want to be their movie. And you do good in the new producer's movie, the one who's producing their first movie, and then you get to be in the better movies. All right? So that's what we want to do. That's all we do right there. All right. And then there's a way to reach out to people, but that's the sauce. All right. So if you do feel like you need some help, this is a labor of love for us. We do appreciate you guys tuning in every single Tuesday. The Recruiting Live Show is here to serve you. And then, like I said, we're going to be bringing in some coaches. We're going to be bringing in some more people to talk tactics. We're going to be bringing in some athletes who are being recruited and their parents, so you guys can hear some real stories. All right. Now, does anybody have any questions, any comments, any concerns before we hang up for tonight? Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Going in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Love you guys. Hopefully you got some value out of tonight. We'll see you next week. Then make sure that you join us Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the Locker Room Show with Q the Guru and a special guest. All right, I'll see you guys. Let's go get recruited. Have a good one.